residents. And so it's really exciting for me now to bring on James Thompson, who is the president of 100 Black Men of Greater Washington, to talk about what the 100 Black men are doing, one, to sort of raise the level of support for Black men and boys in the Greater Washington area. And Mr. Thompson, thank you for joining us today.
Ms. Barnes, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yes, yes. I mean, this is probably a very critical time, not only for the community, but for the work that you all are doing. I mean, since, you know, the news last year about James Floyd and what's happening with Black men, George Floyd, around what's happening with Black men around the country, and also, you know, the violence that we're beginning to see, sort of an uptick in our communities. And so I can imagine that, you know, it's a heavy burden on your organization of how to address some of these issues. And so I'm glad you're on to share some of that with us. So tell us, you know, what 100 Black Men is, what the organization is, and some of the programs that you all are involved with.
Well, once again, thank you. It's an honor and privilege to serve as the president of the 100 Black Men of Greater Washington, D.C., and an honor to be here with you today. The 100 Black Men of America started in 1963 in New York City as an initial concept and idea, and a meeting happened here in October of 1986 to start the 100 Black Men of America with 9 initial chapters. In 1995, as an outbirth of the Million Man March, 11 professional men came together, determining that they wanted to give more of their time, talent, and treasure to the community, to the local community. And our chapter was formed 26 years ago. And we go under the auspice and under the pillars of mentoring, education, health and wellness, and economic empowerment. So all of our program kind of focuses on those four for the future areas.
And how do you actually reach you know, the men and boys in the community? It's one thing to have programs, but how do you actually reach and engage with them? What is it that you're doing in communities that you could point to?
So we do a Saturday Leadership Academy. That's every first and third Saturday of the month. And we do that right in Ward 8 at Anacostia when we were in person. Right now we're in the virtual environment, of course. We do a Saturday STEM Academy. So the Leadership Academy is the first and third Saturday. The STEM Academy is the second and fourth Saturday. Then we also do programming in economic empowerment and health and wellness.
You talk about economic empowerment and health and wellness. And I think those are two, we just talked about, you know, cryptocurrency before. We were talking about maternal health, but we don't always think about it from the male perspective. And so what are some of the things that you're teaching some of the young men that you're working with about, you know, how they can be contributors to the community on both of those sides, keeping themselves healthy and you know?
So in DC, tomorrow we actually, when we talk about health and wellness, we have an event we kick off for one of our beloved brothers that passed away named Jesse Parker. He was the architect of some of the great things that we do in health and wellness. We have a program that he started called Youth Movement. And that's where we go inside the classroom and teach to a 6 to 8 week curriculum about the importance of diet, nutrition, and staying active. We actually host annually a Dr. Tommy Smith track meet where we invite over 600 youth athletes from this area to participate in that track meet. So those are some of the things, the youth movement, just getting people active, talking about the importance of health and nutrition in the community. Those are some of the things that we do at the level of the youth. In economic empowerment, we have great partnerships with people like Experian. Recently, we're able to help people who have been devastated by COVID-19 financially. We're able to help over 15 families save themselves from evictions, right? So we're able to do some rental assistance and some mortgage assistance to help families out locally. But we also teach from our hands-on banking curriculum. So we have a robust curriculum to teach the importance of financial literacy. Some of the things that we didn't learn in the classroom as youth, right? Some of those important things about smart money management and banking. So we teach from a very robust curriculum around financial literacy to teach our students, to get them prepared. And sometimes they even go to our national convention and compete on a national stage about the things that they have learned about financial literacy.
How successful have you been with not only recruiting young people, you know, to engage with your programs, or men to engage with your programs? Because sometimes, you know, we have the greatest ideas, the greatest programs, and the seats are empty. we just can't get, the young people to come in and take advantage of it. And then also, if they're if the seats are overflowing, we don't have the volunteers, right, to support the work that we're doing. So that's a two-edged sword. And how are you all managing both of those?
So we really have engaging programs that they're going to be interested in to bring their attention to what we're doing. We actually see some of the most robust enrollment that we've seen in the history of our program. So this last year, our Saturday Leadership Academy we welcomed students from 64 middle and high schools from this local region, right? It was the highest enrollment that we've seen. And we actually retained over 60% of those students. So we're seeing a high number of engagement. I'm constantly getting calls from DC, Maryland, and Virginia, all the way down to Howard County, all the way to Loudoun County, from educators, right? And mothers and parents that want to say, hey, I want a program like yours to engage my son or my daughter. So we're actually seeing some of the highest numbers that we've seen, and we just keep really engaging. I'll give you an example. So we invited a Black-owned gaming company, right? So we know that a lot of our students are gamers. Saturday mornings, they spend behind a gaming system actually playing the game, but we brought a Black-owned gaming company from Delaware to teach them how to be owners of a gaming company, right? This is a $1 billion industry. So we are able to tap into the STEM part, right? Teaching them to think critically in the gaming environment and programming, but also we're able to tie in our economic empowerment pillar, right? To teach them how to build wealth, generational wealth, to become owners behind some of these things. So we just keep it really engaging. We invited Microsoft in, and our model is what they see is what they'll be. So what we did was brought Black programmers in. So when you see someone, you're more likely to believe that you can achieve that career when you see someone that looks like you.
Amazing. And what about your volunteers? How do you recruit them?
Well, so we have a 3-step process. Most people reach out to us via the website membership. We just do an interview, right? A background check. We want to make sure you align with our mission, vision, and values, right? And then after that, we'll welcome you into the chapter to volunteer as a member of the organization.
I'm curious because also, we have these organizations. You're the president. But what is it in your background? What is it that made you decide that this was an organization worth spending your time and investing in and leading?
I'll tell you, I spent 6 years active duty in the United States Marine Corps. And I had a Marine that was a senior leader. And at 19 years old, he found out that I was from Flint, Michigan. And at the time, Flint, Michigan was a very impoverished community. And he found out exactly where I came from. And he said to me, and he inspired me, he said, you came from this environment. Do you not think it you're self-responsible to give to the next generation as some have given to you to get you to where you are today? And I volunteered 21 years ago as a young Marines drill instructor, right? So I was spending my weekends, my Saturday mornings with these young Marines in an environment where they needed coaching and they needed mentorship. So I've been really doing this for over 20 years, right? I was inspired by someone who told me that it was my responsibility to reach back and pull forward. And I've kind of been serving in that capacity in service since that moment, right? So that was about 20 years ago. And recently, about 5 years ago, joining the chapter, becoming the mentoring chairman and getting a better understanding of what it means to mentor in this organization, having relationships with our parents, with our partners, with our students, with our mentees, with the schools. I just fell in love with the work in this community and decided to lead this effort, and thankful for my chapter for the opportunity.
Well, all praises to you, Mr. Thompson, for doing this and for actually, for making a difference, because that's what's really important. A lot of us see a lot of young men in our communities, and we just wish we could point them in directions. And it's good that 100 Black Men is there, to pick up that mantle, and to support these young men. There's a great need. There's a tremendous need, and so I don't think we can what am I trying to say? We can't overlook the work and the impact that you're having. And we just congratulate you and all of your members for making a difference.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's an incredible honor to do this work and to be in this space. And I'm thankful for the opportunity to speak with you today.
All righty. And, you know, whenever you look trying to recruit volunteers or whatever, just let us know. We will certainly help to get the word out.
As you
Oh, Shevry says you'll be back next week.
Yeah,
from the group. That's good.
We'll
So
be inviting some more members of the chapter to speak.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I am so excited about that because we got to keep this conversation going. So I appreciate that. So we look forward to that.
Thank you so much. And we have an event tomorrow. We kick off a health and wellness series, a 4-part series to honor a fallen brother of our chapter who served as the chairman for 10 years. So we're going to be doing some cycling event tomorrow. And then in the coming weeks, we'll also be doing some boot camps and health and wellness initiatives. So look out for those.
Certainly will. Certainly will. Thank you so much.
Take care.
All righty. Okay, you too.